Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, this is Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Dork Forest. You know the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com. You know the credits, maybe. Mike Rickberg composed and sang that intro song with his girlfriend, Sarah Cohen. And Patrick Brady's going to fix this audio, bless him. And Vilmos works on my website. And Vilmos, you should check the links on that because he is available to do your website, it turns out. He's hanging up a shingle. He's doing it. So go check him out. It is a great month. The sponsor this month? Haha. Is my sister. My sister, Darla Cation, who pronounces her name in a way that many people want to pronounce my name, which is with Cashian or Kashian, or she ethnics it up. I don't know why. Our dad always said Cation. But much like Stephen Colbert, she gets to do whatever she wants. So, it's a great episode. Feel free to know about the things in my life, which of course are This Will Make an Excellent Horcrux, DVD and CD, available April 1st, available right now for $5 download on allthingsrecords.com through the allthingscomedy.com podcast network, of which I am part of, and I love those guys. You should go over there and check them out. And on JackieCation.com, there's t-shirts and CDs and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to be everywhere. I'm going all over the place. Hong Kong, Austin, Texas, Chicago this summer, very glamorous, or this fall, or something like that. Anyway, go to JackieCation.com for full details of absolutely everything else. Let's get into it.
At RBC Wealth Management, social responsibility starts at the top. As a part of the Royal Bank of Canada, RBC has been recognized among the world's financial, social, and environmental corporate leaders. Our sense of responsibility extends to our reputation for putting clients' interests first. My personal commitment is to help you achieve your financial goals by also considering sustainable and responsible investing strategies. To learn more, visit www.darlacashin.com. RBC Wealth Management, a division of RBC Capital Markets, LLC. Member NYSE, FINRA, SIPC.
Hello and welcome to the Dork Forest. It's Jackie Cation sitting here with Emily V. Gordon. Hello. That's right. Is that what your Twitter handle is? Emily V. Gordon?
I did not get on board early enough to get that, so my Twitter handle is the Dynamite. Which, if I thought about
spelled G-Y-N, if I remember correctly.
G-Y-N. So a lot of people think it's like Gynomite, which it could be.
You own it. You're willing.
I mean, I couldn't even get Dynamite. I had to get the Dynamite. This was years ago. It's a kind of a bummer, but you're supposed to scream it like Jimmy Walker. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Dynamite.
Yeah, Dynamite.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Jimmy Walker?
Never met Jimmy Walker.
You're a fascinating guy.
Ooh,
but not funny, sadly. Jackass alert. Jackie Cation
does he think he's funny?
He does stand-up comedy.
Oh, I see. I know what you're
off stage.
To.
Very funny.
Isn't
very
that weird?
Interesting.
Yeah. He should have a podcast because I think podcasts are perfect for people who,
of that.
Yeah. Of that ilk. Yes.
He should definitely have a Jimmy, we worked together in Atlantic City probably 4 years ago. I ate it for a lot. It was probably the worst shows I've ever had. And, you were one of the reasons. No. Anyway,
you weren't helping matters.
You did not aid in my journey, but your stories were fascinating. And anyway, Gynomite.
Tell the stories.
There we go. So, but it is emilyvgordon.tumblr.com.
That is my,
where
my Tumblr.
You speak to real issues.
Yeah, I do. I was a therapist for many years, and mental health is like a huge passion of mine. And
You're for?
I'm for mental health.
Excellent.
I tend to be for.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent.
You know, sometimes, and that means different things for different people. What I'm not for is happiness.
Okay.
I'm for mental health.
Excellent.
Whatever
that
means. And that means a cadre of ups and downs in your life.
There's a spectrum.
We should be feeling those feelings. We should be feeling all the emotions and not
I'm
just
a huge fan of feeling my feelings. I'm not a huge fan of actually feeling my feelings, but I'm a huge fan of allowing feelings to be, realizing that it's the only way to really have good feelings is to have bad feelings.
It's true. What do you do with your bad feelings? Do you squash them? Do you ignore them?
No. Sometimes. I mean, like I seem to be I am a lady in my middle 40s. Congratulations.
No, I was going to already congratulate you. Didn't even
Exactly.
have to.
I am not dead, and the aging process continues. And even late middle 40s, but whatever it is, I don't know that I'm having menopause. I've looked it up. But I seem to be having emotional issues that might be related to menopause.
Interesting. Hormones are such a crazy.
I seem to still be fertile. That'd be a horrifying idea if we were to have a little baby Waffle Ashcraft or something. Yeah, Andy is always looking for the most interesting name ever. I said, you can continue to make that joke if only you do it well into my 60s.
Waffle Ashcraft is what you.
He's always coming up with a new one. He said the other day it was Seamus. And I said, Seamus is a real name that people name their kids. And
Irish
he said,
people.
Yeah, and he is of Irish ancestry. He is a Foley.
Also a good Metroid reference. So it's like,
Yeah.
you cover a couple bases there.
Sure. I don't know why we've digressed into my world, but you have a mental health podcast that talks about mental health.
No,
not podcast.
Tumblr,
Tumblr.
Yeah. So that's basically, I just, it's funny stuff, but it's also like body image stuff. It's self-esteem stuff. It's, dealing with anger. And I answer questions that people write me, which I, at this point, have a backlog of maybe 150. I try to get to as many as I can. I do
Because you try to be thorough, right? You try to be
thorough,
sincere and thorough and
Although one
thoughtful.
aspect of every answer I give is, you should probably see a therapist.
I read some of them, and almost every one of them was like, you realize I'm not actually your therapist.
That's a disclaimer I give on the side, because I've gotten a couple of the people who were like, hey, guess what? I'm going to kill myself. I'm like, anonymously saying that to me. That's not really cool.
That isn't cool.
Yeah, if you're struggling, that's fine. But like, I'm not, by answering the questions, I'm not like responsible for anyone's mental health, obviously. But I have had a lot of training. I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm here to kind of, hopefully enlighten a little bit and vaguely entertain.
And not be sad when someone doesn't write to you anymore and you're like, gee, I wonder if they killed themselves. Hey, don't. It's sort of like, because you also have a podcast called The Indoor Kids.
I do.
Where you talk about indoor things.
A lot of the things that kept myself indoors as a kid, keep a lot of us indoors, even now. Mostly video games, but we talk a lot about movies and TV.
Yeah, you guys do a lot more video games. People think the Dork Forest, you're going to talk exclusively about video
is that
games.
Right?
Yeah. But my video game playing is very, minimal.
Really?
I
think I did know this about you, because I think we talked about having you on the podcast and you're like, I don't know how
I could, but it would be talking about Facebook games, Zynga.
You're a Zynga girl.
Yeah. Not on purpose. And Andy is always like, you realize that those are the worst games. He makes video games for a living, right? And so he's like, it would be like me telling you that my favorite comedian was Jimmy Walker, since we've already brought him up as someone that I don't particularly enjoy.
Like, as kind of a cheap, it's absolutely, the people who make them, they put effort into them, they sell well, people use them, they have fun with them. But there is a sense of, you get less, in my opinion, you get less of a sense of accomplishment. They're more things to waste your time with. Whereas I like to think about games as like, I'm sitting down to do this on purpose.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like a lot of those games, which I also play, I'll like look up and be like, an hour's gone by. Why am I still finding objects in hidden shadows? I don't think I'm ever going to solve the murder. What Zynga games do you play? I don't know much about Zynga games.
Well, and they're not all Zynga. I lump them all together as craptastic, Facebook games, which also isn't true, because I do enjoy a hidden object game.
Okay.
And there was one that I started out with. It was a time travel one. This one's a murder one where it gets super creepy. There's one called Criminal. I'm playing 2. And I haven't been playing any of them because my desktop, I came back from Hong Kong and my computer had died a horrible death.
Which has got to be horrifying. Oh, it died while you were gone, so not while you were there.
Not while I was there. My laptop still works, but my laptop, I decided when I got the laptop that I was going to get a light, small. It's just a little Acer. It's one of those little.
It barely does anything you need.
Except for that Andrew Solomson souped it up within an inch of its life.
Beautiful.
So it is super fast, but the screen is still tiny, so I can't see any hidden objects in my screen because I have a tiny 9-inch screen or whatever the hell it is. And so I cannot play the game that I wish to play.
So when we're talking hidden objects, it's like a screen and you literally are just like looking for hidden objects.
Yeah, I'm clicking. There's a list of things underneath and they're like, hey, there's a dead body in the middle of it, but find the golf club. And that isn't even like the murder weapon.
So like a Where's Waldo-y, I'm feeling.
Sort of. Yeah.
Which I was obsessed with.
Yeah.
Forever.
And I never. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, so the Indoor Kids, it's you and Kumail and
Yes.
Jonah, right?
Oh, no, not at all. Jonah's not.
Jonah's Meltdown.
Yeah, Jonah's
Which is
Meltdown.
your other big project, which is a stand-up show that is at Meltdown Comics.
It is.
A supporter of the show. and great comic book store in Hollywood.
It's a wonderful story.
It's a wonderful store, and it has a back room that Chris Hardwick took over for many shows, the Nerdist Theater.
Yeah.
And then the Meltdown show was its own show, I think, before.
We were there before the theater was there, and we're just doing our own thing on Wednesday nights. And then Chris came along, I think maybe like 8 months later, and was like, I want to take over. And so I ran the rest of the nights for like the first year that it was open.
Right.
And then it became, it's a very tough job to do.
It's a full-time,
job.
it's its own thing.
Yeah, and
it
I
needs a
feel like-
small team, I think.
And I feel like Chris didn't realize that. He didn't realize how popular it was going to be.
Right.
So he was like, it'll be cool. We'll just have shows a couple nights and like maybe people will
Chris
show
doesn't
up.
realize possibly that he pees gold. Right. It's like everything, he's the nicest guy in the world that doesn't realize that everything he touches is monumentally popular.
Yeah.
And he's not alone. I mean, there's no reason for it not to be, but there's really no reason for it to be.
Yeah,
right?
it's true. And it was a lovely idea, and like it just had a lot of fun heat at the beginning. And so it literally, I was the only employee for like a little while.
Right.
And then I was like, hey, I'm dying. I have to do something. So we got other employees, which helped tremendously. And now it's got like a team. I think there's a team of like maybe 25, 26 people that work there at any point in time.
And at least 4 people full time. So
At least a couple of people full time.
Yep.
And then just running our show, which is a Wednesday night show, I was the only employee, and now we have 4 interns, like 3 interns and 1 house manager who's amazing, 1 tech guy. And I'm like, how the hell did I ever
do all of it by
Yeah.
yourself? It is crazy.
It's weird to think about.
It is. But it's a great stand-up show, and it sells out every week. And if people are in Los Angeles, you can show up because you can buy the tickets online at meltdown.com. Just look for the Meltdown show. But you can also just show up and stand in line, and maybe there's some extra tickets, right?
Yeah, that does happen.
And it does have it's an incredibly friendly audience. So there we
They're
go.
a lovely audience. We're very
Now, the Indoor Kids is with just you and Kumail?
just Kumail and I. Yeah, I can't seem to stop working with my husband, which is both great and has its own.
She's married to
challenges.
Kumail Nanjiani. It's really nice. And he's on a new TV show on HBO.
Silicon Valley,
Right.
Yeah, which is a great show. It's a really, really.
I heard it described as Entourage with IT guys.
It is and it isn't, because it's not the same. Like they're aware of how ridiculous they are, whereas Entourage. I just rewatched the pilot of Entourage on a plane recently,
And they play it straight.
so straight, and it's such a good pilot. It really. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I see why this lasted for 5-6
And
years or
it's
where.
Like it's like a Zynga game for me. I was like, I love that. I'll watch any episode of that show. I don't care how ridiculous it is. It's so fun and ridiculous, especially now that I live in LA. To like,
Right.
This is true. This is not like.
Right. And sadly, that's where it loses me. Cause I'm like, oh, that's right. I don't hang out with these people on purpose.
Yeah.
And, to
Even if
watch
you-
the fictionalization of people that actually exist to go, no, that guy actually works. And it makes me, I don't want to feel bad for him. Cause I'm sure he's a nice enough guy when he isn't opening his mouth and saying those horrible things. But I mean, yes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
They're
but
real
the
people.
crap that I watch is insane. Like literally like
What you
it's
got?
whatever's on at 3 p.m. on USA or TNT.
Okay.
While I'm on the road.
Okay.
Good guess.
Law and Order.
You know what? I've never watched Law and Order. I know, which is almost impossible to do.
You're a comedian,
Right.
Who goes road gigs.
I know it. Here's why. I watch less real
Okay.
Law and Order. Law and Order isn't real, but I like to watch the ones that are magical.
Okay.
Like Bones and Castle and NCIS
Okay,
and
all right.
Burn Notice.
Burn Notice.
And
These are all great shows.
and they're perfectly fine shows.
Yeah.
They're lovely. They're just dumb. It's candy.
It's candy.
It's fine.
And I'm comforted by Law and Order in a way that other shows. I've pitched a thing for a website I wrote for to be like, I'd like to rank all the casts of Law and Order because I really
all
think it's
together.
important. Yeah, like as a cast, each cast to see where they come in like a spectrum.
Oh, interesting.
Just so I could take 2 full weeks to watch every bit of Law and Order I could get my hands on. And it worked out, and I got paid very little for it, but I got paid in here. In
That's
my
right.
heart,
That's
and in my
it.
head.
And the closure, it was just amazing, I bet.
Right.
It was,
It's a great show. Yeah.
it's a good one. So your dorkdom,
Yeah.
you sent me a litany of things that we could talk about, and I was pretty psyched about all of them. But
Yeah.
I like the idea that we're going to discuss breakfast foods of the world.
Yeah. Just in general. I'm a huge breakfast fan.
Have you always been a breakfast
Absolutely.
fan? A fan of breakfast?
I would wake up every morning excited that breakfast was a thing that could happen to me. I still do. I still wake up literally excited that I get to go and eat oatmeal. I eat oatmeal every morning.
When you were a child, was it oatmeal?
No, it was mostly cereal. I was really into cereal.
Okay.
And then
What were your cereals as a child?
there was a cereal called Most. That was like a
Oh, I vaguely.
yeah, it's like fiber. It's like not a fun kid cereal at all.
At all.
But I loved it, and I thought it was like the tastiest thing I'd ever had.
You like a whole grain.
I like
from
a whole grain.
From the sound of it.
I probably did dump a lot of sugar on it now that I think about it. But your Captain Crunches, your Lucky Charms, obviously. I was really into this one called Just For.
Yep.
I don't
Wow.
even know what the 4 refers to.
Because it was an FOUR, wasn't
Right,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. It was the 4 food groups or the 4 fiber groups
What,
or
do you
the
have
4
meat
of
in there?
something.
What is happening?
There was protein going on. Wow. What? 2-parent family?
2-parent family.
Okay.
Still married.
Still married?
Yeah.
Did your mom buy the cereals for the family?
She did, and then when we got old enough, I got to pick out.
You
my
get to
own.
pick a couple?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they trusted me because I didn't pick stuff that was super.
Right.
nutty.
You didn't pick Lucky Charms or
No.
whatever. Yeah.
I did and I also there was a time where I was watching a video. I think it was Jermaine Jackson, and I get this wrong all the time, but one of the Jacksons put out a video that was clearly him trying to be like Thriller. It was like a horror video.
Okay.
Of like a horror song, and I have a memory of eating Fruity Pebbles and watching the video, and whatever was in the video grossed me out so much that I could not eat Fruity Pebbles for like years.
Wow.
And
Okay.
which was a bummer because I was really a fan.
Right. That's
Yeah.
and there's nothing to Fruity Pebbles. All it is sugar and a round thing.
And colors.
And colors and very
So
bright
many
colors.
colors.
I know. Fruit Loops always drew me to it for the color.
Yeah.
But I don't like a sugary cereal.
You don't like a sugary. Now, see, that's interesting. And it is an American thing, a very distinctly American thing to have sugary breakfast.
Yeah.
Like that is not a thing that happens so much in other countries, which I figured out later. But to us, it's like, French toast, you got pancakes, none of that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Or just a pastry or a donut.
Oh, yeah.
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 I don't want any of it. I'm more of a savory person. I enjoy eggs, bacon, toast.
Oh, that's
my
a good
favorite.
combo.
My favorite. I love breakfast myself.
Yeah.
But now you love oatmeal. Do you have oatmeal every morning?
Every
say?
single morning now. I eat
At this
oatmeal
time.
with blueberries every
Currently.
single morning. Currently. Right
This
now.
is-
I'm
how
on
long-
a streak. I'm
how-
on a streak.
You're on no reason to stop you. It's now you said you were just on vacation in Bali.
Yeah.
Did they have oatmeal?
They did, but I did not. I did not go. I was like, I'm on vacation. Let's experience. Because where we stayed in Bali, and I'd never been to Bali before, but where we stayed, was like an international resort kind of a thing. So they had breakfast. They had a huge buffet.
Like a buffet.
Every morning.
Sure.
And every morning it was breakfast from, it was like traditional Indonesian breakfast. It was Japanese breakfast. It was German breakfast. It was Australian breakfast because.
Wait, they had different stages?
Different like areas.
Different areas
of the
yeah.
room that were like devoted. And then American breakfast was like so sad. It was like bacon and
Right.
pancakes. It bummed me out. I was like, we're so lame. Look at us. And so
So did you try to go to each of the different country
every day
stations?
I ate all of them. Every day
Oh my
I
gosh.
ate all of them. We ate so much. Camille and I would wake up every morning because we never got over our jet lag. And it's like 14, 15 hours ahead.
Yep.
And so we would wake up at like 5:30 in the morning every morning and be
How
like,
long were you there?
we were there for like 4 days. And
Okay.
be like, oh, it's 6:30. The breakfast place will open. We have an hour that we can eat breakfast. And then we would go and eat breakfast. And like Indonesian breakfast. And trust me,
Yeah.
it's not lost on me that we were eating an Indonesian. I ate bowls of Indonesian porridge that probably feed one person eats for like most of the day.
Right.
It's not lost on me.
No.
I feel weird about it.
Right. It's fine. It was a Marie Antoinette 4 days. Don't worry about it.
It really was.
That's fine. That's fine. You
Right?
get to, yeah, as long as you're aware of it. I got bumped up to business class one time and I almost burst into tears because it was so luxurious that I was like, I can't possibly deserve
Do
this.
I? Can't,
Yeah.
What did I do? How do I?
This doesn't seem fair
like
to
combing your
anyone
hair
else.
differently.
Right. I was given a quilt. It was like a real,
Like an actual
not just
blanket.
a shitty red Delta
In a
skinny.
plastic
Yeah.
bag.
This was like a white quilt. I was like,
Wow.
white? You shouldn't ever give me anything white.
It's true.
Right.
Did
so
you get anything on it?
probably I spent a lot of time just like, but cause I usually like to keep my backpack with me at
Yeah,
all times.
me too.
And, I should have put it up high because I made the area, the bed laid flat. Like
You
people,
got a lay flat pod thing?
uh-huh.
That shit's amazing.
Marie
I have not
Antoinette.
experienced one of
I'm
those.
telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I felt ridiculous.
You do. And how weird is it for us that we feel guilty when something nice is happening?
How weirder will it be when 2 times from now, I will just be furious when I'm sent back to coach.
When you're not in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How big of an ass hat will I be then?
Oh, a huge one. It's going to
Yeah.
be great. I look forward to it.
Right. Okay. So yes. So you were eating more than families each day, but for 4
every day.
days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every day just for breakfast. It was horrible. But they like Indonesian.
Yeah. What is an Indonesian breakfast?
Indonesian breakfast is it's like a pink porridge that has
Pink?
yeah, it's pink. It's got bananas in it and it's got lychees in it on occasion and it's got rice in it.
Okay. So it's like a kanji.
It's similar to a kanji.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just a rice porridge, but
sweetened
pink
one. Yeah.
and sweetened with a little bit of fruit.
Don't know why it was pink. Maybe the lychee made it pink. I couldn't really tell.
Right.
Wouldn't make sense. Lychees are white. I don't know. Japanese breakfast, which I've had before.
Right.
Because if you go to like really nice hotels, they will always have a Japanese breakfast available
Because of the people who travel.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's going to be your miso soup. That's going to be your dried fish. That's
Sure.
going to be dried. And what I had for that was little tiny dried anchovies that were like soaked in soy sauce and like extremely crunchy. And you just eat them like a handful at a time. That's
like
breakfast.
chips.
Yeah. It was amazing. It tasted like sunshine. It was
And
great.
was it? It sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really
So
good.
Indonesian.
Yeah.
Japanese.
Yeah. Australian, a lot of Vegemite stuff. They do a lot of porridgey stuff. That was
Oh,
a
they
good
do
one.
porridge, but
Yeah.
then they do like a toast with Vegemite.
Yeah. I don't like Vegemite.
No.
Because you've been in Australia a bunch, right?
I have, but let me tell you something. Vegemite is fine, but it's one of those things that you had to have grown up eating
I feel like that's
because it's
true.
very salty,
Yeah.
and you just have to. Like, I like okra. I was raised on okra.
Absolutely.
People who were not raised on okra find it foul.
It's not only foul. The consistency of okra is bizarre.
It's
to people
bizarre.
who have not been raised
Andy
on
will
it.
tell an old man joke over and over again about how he's eaten so much boiled okra he can't keep his socks up, which is something his grandfather told him when he was a child. And I'm like, keep telling that joke because eventually it will
It's gonna
never
make
be
sense.
funny.
Yeah.
It'll never be
Eventually
funny,
it'll
but
match up with who you are.
exactly. Your pants will rise and it'll be fine. So, okay. So
Yeah.
that's Australia.
Let's see. They didn't have. They had Chinese breakfast a bit, which was, from what I remember, it was eggs that had been soaked in soy sauce to the extent that they had turned a very, very bizarre shade.
Oh, like a soft boiled egg or a hard boiled egg or a poached?
Well, they have the hard boiled, but they also have soft boiled. Actually, have and obviously for a podcast, this is perfect.
This is perfect. Show a photo to me.
Look at this.
Yeah, you could email me that and I will post it.
Right? It's to describe it, it's essentially what looks like a green egg yolk, and it says it's a century egg, which are eggs preserved in rice and salt for several weeks. Several weeks.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
some shit. My thing is that life is way too short to not try literally everything that exists.
It's true.
Yeah, especially food-wise. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to be fine.
No. If there are billions of people eating it, it's true. I was just in Hong Kong, and
Yes, I want to hear
they
about
were
this.
drying. There was I was taken. The guy who booked it, last episode actually, Michael Dorsher, who couch surfing. That's his dorkdom. He has couchsurfing.org.
He's got a whole thing.
He's got a whole thing where
Like
he has
tips and
surfed.
tricks?
No, he is no. It's an actual like Craigslist-y kind of online
interesting.
community.
Okay.
Where you can go and stay, and sometimes it's very fancy, and sometimes it's his apartment in Hong Kong, which is where many people can sleep outside on the roof outside of his 400 square foot apartment.
Holy.
Yeah, he's like, but there's plenty of room outside if you guys want to do a 10th floor walk up.
10th floor walk up
Yeah.
and sleep outside.
Yeah. But in
Sounds
Hong
great.
Kong, if you're 22.
Yeah, no,
and
for sure.
You're
Yeah.
right. And, but it was couchsurfing.org. And so, but he, now lives in a different neighborhood and,
In Hong Kong.
in Hong Kong. And he was talking about how they call it Stinky Fish Street. And I was like, I do not think that is the name of the street. And he said, what do you smell? And I was like, fish. I smell a lot of fish. And they
Smells
were
great, though.
They were drying fish, on the curb, like in a parking spot.
Yeah.
There was like a tarp down and then a bunch of fish laid
Whoa,
out.
That's pretty cool.
And then steps from there, that's the very same fish that had been fully dried,
Yeah.
was bagged up and available for sale.
Amazing. You know, it's farm to table. Isn't that what we all love, Jackie? Farm to table.
Farm to curbside to
Ocean to curb to bag to mouth.
to lady who's like, whatever. Just
Now, did you eat it?
I did. I
You
had
travel a lot, so I imagine this comes up a lot.
Yeah, I do. The slogan is "Fear no food."
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. It's there are some things that I will only try a bite of if the consistency sends me off. But and I decided I've tried shark skin.
Oh, interesting. I've
Shark
not tried
fin
that.
soup. And there were bags and bags of shark fins on this one street, and I thought to myself, how many fucking fins does a shark have, and is that all they're eating?
Like 2, right?
I don't approve.
Yeah. What do you do? Where's the rest of the shark?
Where's the rest of the? If we're eating all of the shark, if we are Native American a shark,
Yeah.
I'm in because I'm a meat eater.
Yeah.
But if it's
Where
just
are the teeth? I need to
for,
know. Yeah.
if there's right, is there puka shells being made for some surfer in Hawaii with the teeth? And
They're at Urban Outfitters. Look for them this fall. Huge. It's going to be huge, you guys.
okay, yes. So, but yeah, but I do love okay, so now we've done Indonesia, China,
Right.
Australia.
Singapore breakfast, which I've also had.
Interesting, different.
Kaya toast.
Kaya
Now,
toast.
Kaya toast is the best thing I've ever had in my entire life, and I will describe it to you.
How do you spell Kaya?
Kaya?
All right.
Now, and I've actually had a version of it in America, and it was part of the reason that we ended up going to Singapore after Bali, so we could try this toast. It's amazing. So what it is just toast, like a regular. It's like a thicker, almost brioche, but not really.
Okay.
What they put inside 2 pieces of it is coconut jelly and butter, just like chopping a stick of butter into slices and putting them on in there. And then you take a soft-boiled egg, just barely soft-boiled. You put some soy sauce into it. You dip the sandwich, the coconut butter sandwich, into the soft-boiled egg and soy sauce, and you put it in your mouth and you smile because
Oh my
you are
God.
so happy.
That does sound
It is
amazing.
It's really, really good.
Coconut
Coconut
oil?
jam.
Jam.
It's hard to describe. It's like, it literally is like if you took jam and made it coconut flavored. That's
Okay,
literally
so
all
you
it
just
is.
took you coconut and then you mash it up and you turn it into like a jelly or a jam
I
or a
could not
preserve.
imagine how you actually make the jam out of the coconut, but it does exist. And the place, there's a place in Los Angeles that has it, which is where I tried it.
Okay.
The first time, and it's pretty
What
good.
is the name of that place?
That place was called Street, and now they've changed the name to Mud Hen Tavern.
Street, co-owned by Allie Willis, friend of the show. Allie Willis wrote September and most of Earth, Wind, and Fire
Holy
songs.
Lord, I didn't know that.
Allie Willis also wrote the theme to Friends and is co-owner of Street, which is now called Mudhen. What's it called?
I think it's called Mud Hen Tavern. So wait, she wrote the "I'll Be There for You" song?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I said, I used to love that song. And she was like, that song. It's not one of my favorites. I wasn't that psyched about it. I said, did you cry all the way to the bank?
Yeah.
And she goes,
So much
I
money.
really didn't make that much money. And I was like, lies.
Yeah,
Lies.
these are lies.
Every day it plays 7 times a day at every market.
Holy Lord.
So, but she's a good egg. She's a craft dork.
Yeah. Okay. That's
She
a good
owns
one.
most of what is left. That's not true. I think she only owns 2 candy bars, Michael Jackson candy bars that were made in France that they sent.
Excuse me?
Yeah. There are Michael Jackson candy bars from when he was very popular that only sold in France. And when they didn't sell, they shipped them all to his house. And she was doing a co-writing thing with, I believe, Jermaine Jackson.
Okay.
And
So many Jacksons
he was
coming
going through her Kitsch museum in her house, and he saw that candy bar and he said, "Oh my God." Oh, it was a nephew. It was a Michael Jackson nephew. So I don't know which
So
one.
these are like 20, 30-year-old
Candy bars. Yeah. And he said, we were not allowed to eat anything but those candy bars when we were kids.
What?
That's a great episode, Allie Willis.
What's in like that you're plugging other episodes?
No, plug other episodes of my own show, which you might want to do.
Everybody take a pause. Get over there. What the hell does a Michael Jackson candy bar? What's in it?
I think I asked her if it was, she has not eaten it. She's just got it
I just
for
want to know. I feel like crispy rice. I'm feeling crispy rice.
Nestle Crisp. She said it was like a Nestle's bar.
And not that I have any memory of it, but when I think of Michael Jackson, who I loved,
right?
Despite his many, many weird things
that he might have had a foible or two possible.
Foible was the word I was going to use. Literally the word I was going to use. I think of crispy rice and I think chocolate.
I think a Nestle. I think a mediocre milk chocolate.
Probably pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, not good. Not good. Which is why it didn't sell in France, where it turns out real chocolate is available.
And better.
Yeah. Much tastier. But, there could have been, So.
Wow. I don't even know. Oh, so Kaya
So we drag. Yeah.
Susan Ettinger, I think is the name of the chef at that restaurant. Yeah. And so she has traveled the world, and that was her whole thing with was getting street food from all over the world.
Right.
And so Kaya Toast is there. I highly recommend it. It's still at Mud Hen Tavern.
Okay.
I highly recommend getting it
because I've been meaning to go ever since that episode, and now I'm definitely going because that sounds amazing.
It's really, really good. And it's it's so cool. I really like because we were in Singapore and there's like a couple of chain restaurants that do it, like just do Kaya Toast.
Right.
And it seems like such an interesting, bizarre, exotic food to me. But people are just like, oh, it's Tuesday. Gotta get my Kaya Toast and get to work. And I love that. I love that sense of, when I travel, I like being like, oh, this is what people are doing every day. I would rather do laundry in another country and like figure out how to do laundry than like see a museum. I'm more interested in like how people are living every day.
You would not like to travel with Andy Ashcraft, who both wants to figure out how to do laundry and wants to go to a museum. I have had to say to him two things. We're doing laundry and a museum, and that is it. Mm-hmm. We're not doing anything else. We're also going to have a nice lunch, and we're going to take a nap, and we're going to find me some coffee.
Oh, naps on vacation? A+. Coffee all day long.
All day long.
You need it. Do you guys travel together a lot for your work? Or
he comes if it's interesting. He never goes when it's winter. And
who can blame him?
Not me. But when I was going, we went 10 days to Hong Kong, and the guy who booked it, I only had 4 book shows, and then I did 2 open mics. Cause and but the thing is we were there 10 days, and he said, I could get you guys a ticket to Beijing to see the Great Wall of China or whatever. And so we went to the Hong Kong Disneyland.
Oh. And it just says Mike and Sully. Great.
Right. It's essentially the Hong Kong Disneyland.
That's pretty cool.
We were given a free coaster when we took a survey afterwards. They were like, hey, you're monumentally white. What are you doing here? Could we ask a survey about your experience here at the Hong
Kong Disneyland?
A lot of mainland Chinese people.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And most of the tourists in Hong Kong are mainland Chinese people because it's part of China.
Easy to get to.
And they can get there.
Yeah.
And they can't. And if they, there's a couple of fascinating things about Hong Kong. Macau is the next city over that China also owns. And all of the mainland Chinese, like guys that own the factories, and they do all their money laundering in Macau.
Interesting.
That's where it's all happening. What they do is they take all the money that they've skimmed off the top from mainland China, gamble it, lose 20%.
Okay.
And
still got that 80.
They still got that 80% of stolen money now, crispy clean.
So clean.
And so clean because they won it at the casino.
Oh, interesting. People come up with the grandest ways to
cheat, to steal.
Yeah. And screw people over.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it was funny because the guy who booked this thing, he also did, he emailed Armenians in China, and then he sent, an email to the Armenian Association of China.
Which exists.
Okay. And they took me to lunch at the Foreign Correspondence.
Now, how was that lunch, and what did you eat?
They asked me what I wanted, and they didn't really have, I was really glad they didn't have, we didn't sit in the room with all the famous photographs, because a lot of great photographers of the colonial times, over the last 100 years, were members of the Foreign Correspondence Club. And like, there's a picture of My Lai. There's a picture of the Cambodian killing field. So it's like, hey, I'm having
just
lunch.
There at your lunch.
Yeah.
In the dining room.
In the dining room where some ladies were, we got the tour afterwards, and luckily we were downstairs in the bar where there were, but some of the venues were so hilarious. I didn't realize there was a great game to play until the last day, which was the music playing in the elevators and in the cab and in everywhere was horrible. It was terrible. And by the end of it, came up with a game called What would this be used for?
Okay.
For roller skating backwards.
Oh.
For roller skating disco.
Okay.
For,
are they all roller skating related? Or
several roller skating. One other I came up with I only had just a couple hours to play because I realized the game at the last
Way
day.
too late. I hate when that happens. Yeah.
And the last one was, introducing a game show. And,
man. Yeah, that one got me. That's a bad one. You don't want to hear that in an elevator.
And there was just, the thing is it was a beautiful experience. And,
don't need to go back. Beautiful experience.
I don't need to, I might want to bring headphones because the city itself is amazing.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to go.
Outside of the airport, I had to spend it was 7 hours in that airport. on the way back.
Oh, that's not.
You can't really leave. You can't. It's like not much you can do.
And it's not a very big airport, which is. I mean, it's big, but it's not.
Every inch of it. I've seen every inch of that Hong Kong airport.
7 hours.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah, because
all we could do.
We flew through Tokyo, so we had like an hour and a half in Tokyo. But our terminal, because we didn't clear customs, had one place to. And plus international travel, they feed you every hour. And you're
really
like,
do.
I really want something exciting, Japanese. And you're like, I guess I got a nori roll.
Did you opt for it? They had like kanji on our flight. We definitely had an option for kanji. We had
really?
Option. Yeah, we had an option for like some pretty.
Oh, that's
I got
great.
like salted cod on the way there. And Kumail's just like, what are you doing? You're gambling. You're gambling over there. I don't know how it's going to be. And it was weird, but it wasn't any worse than like the lasagna they always serve you on these flights that are terrible.
Well, and I think gutsy stuff making fish on an airplane.
It's gutsy stuff for everyone involved.
For everyone. The only other time I've even heard of that was I was on a flight on Ethiopian Airlines and they served fish. And I was like, well, I'm going to be smelling fish anyway. I'm going to have the fish.
Might as well, yeah.
And it was excellent.
Where were you going, by the way?
I was coming from Djibouti to Kuwait.
Was that for comedy?
Yeah, it was comedy, one of those military tours. So
you do some really amazing travel. Now, how was the food in Iowa?
I was in Iowa a couple of weeks. No, and
what? How do you say that again?
Iowa, Toledo, Iowa, Toledo, Iowa.
Is it Toledo?
Yes. Do you know Lee Keeler?
No.
Green Gravel Comedy Fest, first year of it. Me and Kevin McDonald were the big names.
Wow.
Well, and Ryan Singer. And so again.
Love that Kevin McDonald.
Kevin McDonald was actually, Kids in the Hall guy. He was great and he filled the room. So it was pretty great. But Toledo, Iowa was chosen because it's an hour from Des Moines and an hour from Iowa City.
They need more airports in Iowa. That's what I know.
And there's only 2.5 million people in the whole state.
Yeah.
So they had to but it was really fun, quite
That's
honestly.
Cool. And it's the first
there was a Chinese restaurant in that town. We didn't go.
Yeah, no, you don't need to. Kumail went to college in Iowa and he was like, I remember when we got a Thai restaurant and it was just packed every day. Same thing was true in my hometown of Sonic. When we got a Sonic was busy.
Where'd you grow up?
North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay.
We got a Sonic when I was a teenager and you could not get in. It was like it was the nicest restaurant in town. It wasn't the nicest, but it was the one that like, oh, you got into Sonic? Oh my God. You could not get in there. Just lines for blocks.
There was, Andy's moms live in Lindsay, California. And when they got the Starbucks, they were raising, his nephew, young Thomas Pennington. And he was probably 12 or 13 at the time. And he was like, can we go to the Starbucks? They're like, no, it's where the bad kids will hang out.
So cute.
Adorable.
That is really weird. That's so funny. That's where the bad kids will hang out.
So Winston-Salem, I have to ask this. Did you ever, as a child, go on a field trip to the cigarette factory?
Yeah, both my parents worked there.
Oh, hello.
So the fact that you know about that is amazing because most people don't know that that's there. But absolutely, field trip to the cigarette factory.
Free cigarettes?
No, they didn't go
discontinued
that.
that.
Yeah, they discontinued that. Did you experience that?
Well, we went to the Miller.
Yeah.
And you got to taste beer.
That's amazing.
I was 11.
It's amazing how that happens, right?
David Sedaris tells a great story about how he grew up in Raleigh. Yeah. And then he got cigarettes when he was like 10 or 11. And they gave every kid a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah. And can I say something? I have a feeling that might have been fudged a little bit.
He might have been exaggerating.
I love some Sedaris. And
sure.
David Sedaris and I have followed the same path in that North Carolina to Chicago to New York.
Okay.
And then he went to France and I went to LA. Fine. That's fine.
Sure.
So of course I'm obsessed with him. But yes, we frequently went on tours to the cigarette factory. Never got free samples at the end, but you did get to see how they were made, how they were rolled.
Sure.
And it was like a thing of like, this is great.
Right.
And then it's been in my parents' lifetime and in my lifetime that it's become such a terrible thing. My mom smoked when she was pregnant with me. Like it just wasn't.
Right. So did mine. Yeah. And drank.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is also not that bad. No, you just don't need to do it a lot. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, and my mom did. Yeah, she was half of the bag most of the time, I'm told. But look at me. Huh? I got all my functions. I got all 10 digits. It's all working out.
Fine. Everything's doing fine. What's that sound?
Right. So next breakfast place.
Oh, next
as we weed
place.
off.
Let's go with one. Let's see with one. I'm going to pull up the list. Some of these I haven't had, and I just want now Pakistani breakfast. My husband's Pakistani,
right?
So that's a fun one to experience what Pakistanis eat for breakfast. They kind of have broken me of the habit of having like traditional, not heavy breakfast foods because they tend to eat like, they'll eat nahari for breakfast, which is it's basically like Pakistani pot roast, essentially.
Oh.
It's very heavy, very thick. And
meat and broth,
meat and broth. And like, obviously you have like naan that you eat it with.
like
roti.
some bread. And, yeah.
Yeah. And when I first was with him and we would be with his family, they'd be like, oh, if you want, you can just have toast for breakfast. You know, you don't have to eat all this stuff. We're like, okay, that's fine. And then slowly they kind of broke me out of it. So now I can eat, because I would get a little nauseated if I ate something too heavy. I need whatever now.
Right.
Anything.
Giant breakfast.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah. Not even giant breakfast, like giant, like Thanksgiving dinner style kind of breakfast. Like real intense.
Pakistani breakfast is Thanksgiving dinner. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
A big thing they do is, it's called puri. It's something puri. And it's, these like little, like kind of sweet, tiny naan.
Yeah.
With like a little porridge. That's a big thing they do for breakfast. And I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of straddles that savory sweet line.
Yeah. Cause it's a sweet bread, but with a regular porridge.
Exactly. Now, Egypt, that's a breakfast. It's a slow cooked fava beans with olive oil, lemon juice, and garlic for breakfast.
That's, I believe, called fool.
Very good.
Yeah.
Full. It says full madames, maybe.
Sure.
I don't know.
It's great.
That?
Well, because, I don't know. I eat at a Lebanese restaurant that has it, and it's tasty for dinner.
Okay. So
they have it for dinner. Yeah. If you could just cause it's a nice, you can make it with garbanzo beans too.
Ooh, that does sound delicious. Okay. I gotta try that. I like the idea of like anytime like Vietnam, countries like that, Cambodia, you can have like pho for breakfast. I love the idea of pho for breakfast.
I love the idea of a big soup at any time, day or night, my friends.
Yeah, sometimes it's just me needing to make I have access to the food. I just need to bring it into my morning time. That's what I need to do.
Right. That's all it is.
Yeah.
How about Korea?
Korea, they do have, it's a lot of dried fish.
Yeah. For breakfast.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of dried fish.
Because they do good work with a big soup as well.
They do.
Yeah.
There's a great, place here in town that's like a Beverly Soon tofu. That's like a tofu soup.
Yeah.
I took my parents there the last time they visited, and they're still like, hi, I just never had anything. I'm so like, they're very adventurous too.
Yeah.
And they kind of instilled that in me, but they were just like blown away. And it's just like it's a red based soup, but none of us can figure out, it's not tomato.
Right. What the red is.
I don't know what the red is.
Is it a pureed bell pepper?
Maybe that could be it. And it's got tofu in it, and then you can add like kimchi and stuff, and they crack an egg in it. It's so hot that they crack an egg into it when they serve it to you. That's a badass move, in my opinion.
Is it bim bam bop or whatever?
It's definitely not that. It's,
okay.
I think it's just called tofu.
Because my favorite soup of the Korean variety is called yukai-jang.
What is that?
And I'm not pronouncing it right, but it's Jang, Jang. That's what I'd say, yukai-jang. And yukai-jang is a spicy beef soup.
Ooh,
and with the clear glass noodles.
Ooh.
Which I love a glass noodle.
Me too.
Yeah. And
love it.
And it's so spicy that if you ate it, here's my theory. If you ate it every day, you would never get a cold. And if you have a cold, you should eat yukai-jang.
Done. Yeah.
It will nuke your cold.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Jitlada here in Los Angeles?
No.
Oh,
what is Jitlada?
Jitlada is a restaurant in Los Angeles that is incredibly famous. It's a hole-in-the-wall Thai restaurant in Thai town. And it's mainly famous because a lot of like Matt Groening goes there a lot and draws little pictures of Simpsons characters. That's how much he loves it to go around the restaurant.
Okay.
And when I was moving here, a lot of my friends were
Cross Street? How do you spell it?
Cross Street is, Harvard and Sunset.
Okay.
And, it is for all the people listening who live somewhere else.
Or come here.
And it's spelled Jitlada.
Okay.
Now the food there, it's like, Southern Thai, and they have just pages and pages of like normal stuff. And then they have pages and pages of just stuff you've never seen before, stuff that they've created, off the menu, weird stuff. Omelets with spicy, like meat in them.
Weird.
Yes.
Like Thai, awesome.
Yes.
Thai, awesome.
Thai omelets. It's one of my favorite restaurants, and the food is so spicy. There was one spicy challenge that they have, like the spicy challenge. Kumail took it once, had to go sit in the car, was like not okay.
Right.
But when any of our friends are sick, it's a thing of like, oh, well, let's go to Jitlada, clear you out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you just get a hot soup and die.
Well, there's a beautiful Thai restaurant. I have a hard time with Thai food in Los Angeles because there's so many Thai restaurants that they're often not that good.
Yeah.
And they're a little greasy.
Even out, yeah.
Yeah.
Jitlada is one of the best.
Right. Jitlada.
Yeah.
I'm in. The place, here in the valley, if you ever make it up to Van Nuys again on Sherman Way near Fulton.
Okay.
Is called Krua Thai. Krua.
Okay.
And Krua Thai, one of Andy's best friends, a guy named Michael Everson, he's been on the show. He invents fonts for dead languages. Anyway, he did Inuit.
Great friends.
Yeah. And,
great job.
Yeah. It's an amazing. But we took him there, and there are some very, very spicy. They have it's crazy spicy. And Michael said, "Yeah, I was just in Thailand last week. You can make it as spicy as you want." And the woman just looked at him and said, "Okay."
Like, get ready, buddy.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
You never say that. You always say, "I like it spicy. Do what you will, but be very respectful of the fact that you probably can't handle
whatever you think you can. And so he couldn't finish it.
Good.
Yeah, good for you. Bam. And then one time right there, we ordered this raw blue crab salad. It was raw blue crab.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And it sounded amazing.
Yeah.
And we're like, let's try that. And the woman goes, Americans don't like this. And we're like,
and then you instantly like, well,
we're going to try it.
We're
and she goes,
special.
it's too spicy and you're not going to pay for it. And we said, we promise to A, finish it.
Okay.
And B, pay for it. She was like,
big promises there.
all right. I know it. We had to ask for 2 extra bowls of rice. And
Rice. And whenever I'm putting rice on really, really spicy, like white rice on really spicy food, I'm always like, this is a symbol of my Caucasianness. Like, let me see if I can dampen this down.
Right.
My white ass rice.
Exactly. White rice for the white. I can't.
Let's see. Okay, Africa. Now, I like a lot of African food. I love Ethiopian food.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I've had a couple of Sudanese restaurants that were really, really good, but I have a lot more to explore with African restaurants because there's a lot of,
because Africa's huge, it turns out.
So huge. Not just a country.
Not just a country. Turns out there might be 40 countries in it.
There's a thing they have called Katogo, and I don't know what exactly country this is from, but it's a combination of green cooking bananas mixed either in a stew from beef or in a sauce from vegetables.
Interesting.
That does sound really good, right?
Green bananas in a stew.
Bananas. Now, do they mean plantains? I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
Right?
And I don't know that I would like it, but I would definitely try it.
You gotta try that.
Yeah.
Iceland, pickled fish and pancakes.
Sounds horrible, but I would try it.
Right.
I don't pickled. I'm not a huge fan of a pickled fish, but
Pickled
okay.
Anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll do a pickle.
Yeah, I mean, pickles are great.
Yeah.
A few years ago, we were at a restaurant with, and it was Pete Holmes, myself, a couple of other people, and a friend of ours who was a very picky eater. And Pete was like, "Hey, I know you didn't want to pay for dinner. Do you want the rest of my food? You can have it. It's totally fine." And the friend was like, "Oh, I don't like all the things that are in your food." And Pete, and I'll never forget it, goes, "I'm going to tell you what your mom should have told you when you were 6 years old. Shut the fuck up and eat the food."
Amen. Yeah, exactly.
Just shut up and eat what's in front of you. That's all you need to do.
That's it. And when you're in another country, for the love of God, just eat it.
Just eat it.
You have been given food.
You have been given food.
Some
How
people
wonderful.
do not have food.
They don't get the chance to.
When I went to Italy, I was not allowed to order a latte in the afternoon. I had to get a cappuccino.
Okay.
Yeah. I was told that lattes are morning coffees.
Interesting. No one told me that. I was there last year.
Okay.
I had never been before.
And nobody got all bossy about your coffee consumption?
No one did. And I'm quite surprised, frankly.
Well, I said to myself, fine.
Okay. Yeah.
And
sure.
I was like, fine.
Okay.
I will just
Turns
stir
out I
it.
will live. Yeah.
I will live and drink whatever coffee is in front of
That's really
me.
interesting. I really liked the food. I liked every stop that we made. We just were basically getting some type of coffee drink, literally every time we stopped. And I don't know how much it is for me to travel with a non-white person overseas and abroad. I feel like I don't know for sure if it changes anything, but I honestly do feel like we get
sort of more choices because Kumail is with you, or no?
I think I'm saying when I've traveled in the past and it's been me with another white person traveling, I feel like the assumption is that we're dumb Americans.
Right.
And somehow that's taken away a little bit when you're like, oh, you've got a brown guy with you. You could be from somewhere else.
Right. It could be. Yeah, it could all work out.
And not that anyone's ever been rude in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But I just noticed that people are very kind to us when we're traveling, and it's always been really cool. And Kumail and I travel really well together. Do you and your husband travel well
We
together?
do travel really well together.
So helpful.
It is helpful. It's very hard. I had to be very clear about the 2-thing day.
The 2 things a day.
Right. We can do 2 museums.
Yeah.
We can do one.
Nap has to be in there.
Yeah. We can do 1 church and 1 museum. We can do, one day we did 3 things and I was like, I am sadly grumpy.
Yeah, and this is not a vacation at this point.
No.
You want to see all the things, but also you're there to enjoy yourself. And
right.
So if you're just forcing yourself to do all this stuff, I don't know. We spent one whole day in Italy just going to gelato places. We missed out on museums because we were like, I want to eat gelato here and here and here. So one day, that's literally all we did. We walked to gelato places all over
the only
Rome.
thing that disappoints me sometimes about Andy Ashcraft is the moderation.
Oh.
When he is full, he stops eating
Who is this monster you married?
I know it. You see the chocolates in front of you? The only way that he will have a half of one and then offer to split it with me. This Dove Dark Promise. And I'm like, stop. I don't want
it. Promise.
And then it's entirely a dark promise. And so, like, that's why sometimes I want to go with my sister.
Yeah.
Who will overeat with me.
Yeah.
You
need permission to break bad a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
You don't do it all the time, and he will do it somewhat, but he gets ill.
Do you know those people who like want to split a piece of gum? Those are the people. Those are the people that I'm like, why are you here? What are you doing? Well, I don't want a whole piece. Like, eat a piece of gum. It's one piece of gum.
It's probably sugarless. Right? Oh my God. What are you waiting for? And
my mom will do that on occasion. I'm like, Mom, put the fucking gum in your mouth.
Eat all of the fucking gum. We will buy more gum.
You deserve all the gum.
Right? All the gum. We all deserve shrimp ring and some gum.
Shrimp ring.
It's my neighbor had the shrimp ring one time and at New Year's Eve, and then I didn't run into her for like 3 years. And then this is all during college, like a million years ago. I still remember it. I run into her 3 years later, and I'm like, hey, Mrs. Bridge, the last time I saw you was at your New Year's Eve party with Paul, her son. And it was a lovely time. And she goes, you came the year we got the shrimp ring. And I wanted to burst into tears and go, Mrs. Bridge, you deserve a shrimp ring every year.
Oh my gosh.
Every Thursday, if you want.
When there's moments where you get such a weird peek into someone's like inner life, and you're just like, oh, gosh.
You deserve a shrimp ring.
You deserve a shrimp.
And the thing is, everyone deserves. And the thing is there's frugality. I totally get that.
Absolutely.
But everybody and my dad.
It's not a huge splurge, though. It really isn't.
No, it's $14.99.
Sure.
That's a shrimp ring. Knock yourself out.
What were you saying about your dad? I'm sorry.
You go over to the Ralphs. You treat yourself right. You go to Rainbow Foods. You go to whatever your Cub Foods, whatever your chain
your Dominic's, whatever,
whatever. And so.
It's true. It's very true. That's the thing I talk about a lot is people are always like, how can I be happy? I get that question like, what do I do to be happy? And it's not like you do this one big thing and they're like, oh, guess what? I'm happy now. It's fine.
Yes.
Happiness is, if you really like Diet Coke with vanilla in it, you get yourself a Diet Coke with vanilla in it. Like that's a little comfort. Happiness is just all the little comforts.
Just a little treat. Yeah. My sister's a financial advisor, right? And she says, when I talk to people, they're like, I spend probably $5 3 times a week at Starbucks. And she's like, yeah, you get that.
It's okay.
You get that.
Good.
Here's the other let's look at the other things that you're just buying because you're booking out. But you deserve the one thing that you pick something.
Yeah.
And mix it up if you want. Yeah. Like if you like to go to the dollar store and spend $5 on craptastic stuff.
Cocaine. A little bit of cocaine.
A little bit of just once a month cocaine.
Just a tiny bit of cocaine. I'm not going to get very much.
One line. And, have them serve it to you in a bathroom on top of the toilet roll holder like a classy girl would do it.
Like a real classy girl in a bathroom. Do you know what my one vice right now is? Coffee Mate. An International Delight, like stupid flavored creamers.
Yeah.
That's my one vice right now.
That's your thing.
I don't really drink very much. I don't really do any drugs. Like I'll have caffeine. And I will whatever the stupidest flavor. The more words
hazelnut,
in the title. Oh,
just some sort of French.
Not enough words.
Yeah. The more words in the title. Can you remember one with at least 2 or 3?
Yeah, I most recently got a fresh baked cookie made by weirdly it was made by what is that? Cold Stone Creamery.
Oh, weird.
So it was like a cookie dough flavored. Ice cream flavored creamer.
Right. This is the safest space in the world, the Dork Forest. But let me tell you something about fake creamers. I like them better when they're flavored than when they're not flavored because you know that it's just some exit in New Jersey that is creating this, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. They're no good for you.
There's not even any dairy involved.
Oh, God. No, you can leave them out on the counter. It's disgusting. My mom told me that she read a story about how in prison they let Coffee Mate dry and use it as glue. Like liquid Coffee Mate when it dries. Think about what that's doing to my insides.
Yeah, see, I have an unsubstantiated belief that all just regular white Coffee Mate is just water that is run through a cancer-shaped cheesecloth. It is without.
True.
Yeah, I don't like it. But the thing is if they only have the powdered creamer or one of those flavored Coffee Mates, I go flavored Coffee Mate.
Gotta go flavored.
I also go fake sugar over powdered creamer. which is also made out of just powdered cancer.
Yeah, it's all made out of cancer.
Right. It's all just made out of cancer, and that's what I would prefer for some reason than weird whitener that I'm like, it doesn't even taste like dairy.
Doing. Yeah, you just are literally lightening your coffee, but for no other...
Right, that's a psychological. That's my brother's like, why don't you drink coffee like an adult, black?
See, I can't do that quite yet.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
I'd love to get to that at some point, but I'm not there yet. So
me neither.
Instead, I will have blueberry cobbler coffee made on a regular basis. It is disgusting. It doesn't even taste good, Jackie. It's horrible. It's so bad.
What now? Are there European breakfasts? Do you do a croissant?
Yeah, those don't excite me as much because those I'm aware of them. And they're lovely.
Right. It's not an exciting.
It's not like it's something I've kind of been aware of.
I wonder what the Russians do.
I actually don't know. That's a really good
All
question.
right, borscht.
Probably
maybe
borscht. Probably like a stew of some sort. Yeah,
a bowl of tears.
Yeah,
they're very sad people sometimes, but they power through it.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
I like the people. You can always. I feel like you can judge a culture by their breakfast foods, and I feel like the cultures that have like there's some culture, and I don't mean in like a you're great or you're terrible. But
right.
The cultures
you can learn a lot. I think is what you mean.
You can learn a lot. The cultures that are like stews, hearty stews. They're working hard. They have to be out. They need a lot of fuel throughout the day. That's what Camille's always joking. He's like, my people's food is like third world country food, but we're doing okay. So we're all just eating this like food for working in the fields and then going and sitting behind a desk all day. Like, doesn't work at all.
Answering questions.
Yeah, exactly. And then like your European, I feel like they have these very like flaky breakfasts. Like they're all like flaky and
refined
tasty.
flours
Very
that have happened over the last 500 years of colonialism.
And I feel like you can kind of like, they're not working that hard throughout the day. They kind of just need to look good. They want to get out the door.
Right.
Get to a party. Your breakfast parties.
Is there an inauguration you're missing?
And there always is. So I like the people that have like the heartier kind of like, and I like breakfast foods that are like, I do like a breakfast food with fish in it. I think it's super interesting.
Well, that's interesting.
And I think
what about Mexico, Central America, South America, any of that?
Well, they have like what was it I was reading about their breakfast? I mean, I've had definitely in Mexican restaurants, you can get like breakfast burritos.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. Huevos rancheros.
I don't know how much that's
rice?
actually there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much the idea of putting scrambled eggs into any Mexican food makes it all amazing.
Yeah.
So I hope that they do it there, but I honestly don't know.
I think scrambling and like when you put a scrambled egg in fried rice.
Oh, it's the best thing ever.
You've helped rice out a great deal.
Elevating it.
Elevating it. Brought it up a notch.
And I think we all agree that eggs kind of help out.
They really do.
Yeah.
I think about, Andy and I had a conversation in Hong Kong about how close we were to being vegetarians, except for just seeing, I think it was bags and bags of shark fins. Yeah. That'll make you think, this can't be good.
Yeah.
And, it seems rude in some ways, especially like I've stopped eating octopus at restaurants because I'm told they're very smart. Andy,
they're geniuses.
Right. Andy was like, yes, they would take over the world if they lived more than 3 years.
Well,
and I was like, is that their lifespan?
Yeah. They don't live more than 3 years.
That's what he said. I don't know if it's true.
So sad.
Yeah. Ross Whitman, Todd Mason, people who email me regularly, Darlene. Why don't you guys
call his names out?
It's I got some listeners who write me these awesome emails of, well, the backstory on that is actually, I don't know if you remember back in the 12th century.
But are they snarky about it or are they kind? That's good.
For the most part, they're kind and sometimes it's just super informative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get the snarky ones sometimes that are like real nitpicky about just real specific facts that I was like
you missed it?
Yeah.
Like the Rangers of the Dork Forest are used to the fact that I have no idea.
And I'm I'm just going to talk and I'm just going to say words and I'm definitely going to get it wrong every once in a while. And it's cool. I'm okay with it. I wish you would be more okay with it.
Right.
Listeners.
Right. I hope it's all working out for you, the indoor kids.
Breakfast just now. Tell me all about it.
Bet you that doesn't happen in Iceland. Anyway.
I get a lot of tweets that start out, well, actually, I've learned any tweet that I get that starts out, well, actually, I'm like, I don't need to hear it.
Well, yeah. And the thing is I just go, yeah. And I just found out that I'm doing a live one in Boston in a couple of weeks. Fun. And it's someone who's really into alternative music. I don't know what that means.
Oh, like 90s alt music or like?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the alternative to music, if it's just bang your drum all day.
Yeah.
If it's, somebody.
It could mean a million things.
It could mean, whenever somebody tells me they're a music dork, I genuinely have a tiny panic attack.
Do you?
Because I don't know enough about music.
Yeah.
And yet, were you to ask me, do you enjoy music? I would say yes.
You do. What do you enjoy?
Well, I have the new Eminem album.
Oh,
I have Constellations from their guitar rock from Atlanta. I have some Simon and Garfunkel live in Central Park. I enjoy guitar rock is what I guess I mostly enjoy. I enjoy some trip hop.
Okay.
I don't enjoy electronica for the most part.
Okay. I tend to.
I wish I did because my friend Michael Squire enjoys it a great deal. He smokes a little more pot than I do, which is none.
It helps when you're enjoying electronic music.
Yes. And almost everything that's makes me want to cut myself.
Sure.
So
dubstep. Every once in a while it'll get me, but for the most part, and I was a big music nerd in like middle school and high school. That was like, it was like mid 90s, and I was into like that whole like grunge era kind of alt rock.
Maybe that's what she's into.
Maybe so. And I
own that Nirvana album. I own pretty much one album of every band.
Okay.
I own Granddaddy, from 2003. I own, whatever. I own the Hold Steady.
Hold Steady.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I've got Arctic Fire.
Oh, there we
Arcade
go.
Fire.
Arcade Fire and Arctic Monkeys.
I have one of each of those.
There we go.
I also have Arctic Fire, which is a new band I just made up.
It would be a fun supergroup for them to make. Yeah.
It would be. That would be.
I was really into music, and then around the time that I moved to New York, I realized just the depths of what I didn't know, and it horrified me so much that it scared me away from music. And then through Jonah Ray, who hosts The Meltdown with Kumail, and is also one of my best friends, is so into music, and he's also very accessible. So he and I, he'll email me these are great albums. Here's a couple you should get. They just came out.
Right.
And
you give me,
I've gotten back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. I said, you want to send me a compilation, not more than 8 songs.
Mm-hmm.
It's, Murray Valeriano gave me a stick with 500 songs on it. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I will never listen to one of them.
It's kind of overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's not, he just knows so much more than I do. But Zach Sherwin, MC Mr. Napkins, he sent me a couple of hip hop albums, including that new Eminem album that I'm thoroughly enjoying.
Well, that's good. I was when you have to do it in small doses. It's definitely
true.
I've had definitely roommates as an adult that we've shared iTunes with each other.
Yeah.
And that's why I have Divine you remember Divine?
Yeah.
Divine put out an album, at least one. I own one album that she puts out because of my roommate. And when it comes up, it's always, there's an alphabet rap. Listen to the alphabet rap by Divine. It is the silliest, weirdest.
Super fun?
It's super fun. And it's also who let you do this? Right? Who let you do this? I love Divine endlessly. Who let you do this? What's happening? It's a great one.
Now here's, I usually ask, what you're reading. Yep. What you got a couple of books for the people?
I read a lot, so I'm trying to think of the.
How about nonfiction? You got anything in nonfiction you've read recently that you enjoyed?
I just read, oh God, I think it's called Pilgrim Madness. Oh, I think it's called Pilgrim Madness. We can clarify that. It's a nonfiction book about this family that became very religious and showed up in the Alaskan wilderness and decided that they were going to make a homestead there. And everybody was like, "Great, we love you. We love what you're doing." The kids could sing. They had a Partridge Family thing going on. And then they started challenging. They started building on government parkland, and so. The government had this handshake agreement with all the locals. If you're not messing with the land too much, of course, be on the land. It's totally fine with us.
Right.
And then this family, the Pilgrims, they call themselves, started pushing those boundaries and were bulldozing stuff and setting up donkey tours of their area. And so then they kind of made the government have to step in. And then everybody was
did they ruin it for everyone?
They ruined it for everyone. And then it turns out that the guy that all these people had been behind, and I don't want to ruin it in case you read the book, it turned out to be kind of a monster in a million different ways. Okay. So it's really, really fascinating, government versus local.
People with a dream.
Yeah, showdown.
And then the dream just gets taken advantage.
So that's a good nonfiction book I've read recently. And right now I'm reading this series of books called it's called The Shades of London, there's 2 of them so far. Maureen Johnson wrote them.
Okay.
And it's about a young girl who grew up in Louisiana, goes to a boarding school in London, and discovers she has these weird powers. And the first one, there's a Jack the Ripper copycat that's happening in modern times. That's the first one. I don't want to ruin it.
Mystery, Maureen Johnson.
She has such a great voice. The voice of the narrator is a girl you want to hang out with. She's a kind of funny, silly teenage girl, but she's also in the midst of all this weird murder shit.
What's the name of the first one?
The first one is called The Name of the Star.
Okay.
The Shades of London. And then the second one, which I'm just started, is something, The Shades of London. So look for The Shades of London.
All right.
Yeah.
I just finished The Last Policeman, which is essentially, it was recommended in Seattle at the bookstore there. Elliot something was the name of the bookstore. And
Elliot is the name of the bookstore.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And the Last Policeman, it's essentially a meteorite is heading towards Earth. Ooh. And we know that it will essentially destroy most of life on Earth. Ooh. So it's everyone knows that 6 months it's going to happen. And so suicide is up.
Yeah.
And people are done. And there's one guy who's like, no, I just made detective. And so he just wants to do his work. And there's a murder that looks like a suicide that he's like, no, this is a murder. And no one cares.
Yeah, why would they care?
No one cares. Everyone's just essentially looking for drugs.
Yeah.
And and a way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating, quite honestly.
Wow, that sounds really
And then
cool.
I finished Furious Cool, the biography of Richard Pryor.
Oh,
which
is that
was again fascinating and inspirational, and that guy was a mess. And but his stand-up was because I've never owned any of his albums or see any of his specials. I'm in the part of show business that doesn't know who anyone is.
I got it.
And and we never did when I was a kid. We never listened to stand-up. So, and since then, I've been watching live comics standing in front of me. So I haven't really gone and gone
back into the
research.
Yeah. He had one special that I watched when I was younger that kind of blew me away. It's one where
it sounded amazing. Was it
around a building when you were on cocaine? He has a bit about what it's like to be on cocaine. And
yeah,
it's amazing. And then I took Eddie Murphy Raw to a summer.
Oh right,
yeah.
I saw. Well, I've seen Bill Cosby now twice live, and it was amazing. Yeah. But I've never heard himself.
Oh my God!
Right,
that album. So good. That's
mind-boggling.
So
yes,
good.
I know. I got a lot of things.
Yeah,
I'm only on season 1 of Doctor Who. Anyway, so
let's not even start. You have things ahead of you, Jackie.
Exactly. So Emily Gordon of the Indoor Kids podcast, you can tune into that on the iTunes or probably theindoorkids.com.
No, not at all.
Interesting.
We have a merch page, but we are housed at nerdist.com. So you can look for us every Monday at nerdist.com.
Oh, there you go. Oh, it's one of the, of course it is. Mm-hmm. And then, Meltdown Show is live stand-up comedy, on Wednesday night at Meltdown Comics.
And the television version is coming to Comedy Central.
I know.
At some point, late summer, look for that.
We've already talked about how I am available because I need $500 as much as the next comic, Comedy Central. Anyway, so, but and then your Tumblr, which is a little more serious, but also funny and fun about, psychology kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And,
EmilyV.Gordon.Tumblr.com.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. This was
Yay
fun.
for breakfast. Take care out there, Rangers. All right. That was great. Thanks so much for listening to the show, you guys. The bonus content, which is Andy and I discussing the show, is available on the apps, the Libsyn sold apps. For some reason, Libsyn is also just posting it for free, so you don't have to buy the app. You can just go to tdf.libsyn.com if you're just downloading it to your iTunes and putting it on some other app to listen to all of the different podcasts that you listen to. So if you want to listen to the bonus content, just go to tdf.libsyn.com, or you can buy the app if you want. And you can also just go to iTunes, by the way, and review the show. iTunes supposedly cares about that. So if you're enjoying the show, and I read them, and that's great. And if you ever want to email me, Jackie@JackieCation.com. The credits, of course. Patrick Brady's going to fix this audio. Thank you, Patrick. Mike Rickberg composed and sang the intro song. He's going to sing the Mexican hat dance right here in a moment. And Vilmos fixes the website, JackieCation.com, where, by the way, there is a donation button, JackieCation.com and DorkForest.com. Feel free to donate. I'd love everyone to give me $100 a year. That is $8.33 a month. I have not figured out a way to make that easy for you. You would have to remember that, or you can just throw me some money. If you don't have any money, that's fine as well. But feel free to talk up the show. And if you would like merch, if you'd like a Dork Forest t-shirt or a CD of my stand-up comedy, or would like to know where I'm doing stand-up, go to JackieCation.com and hook yourself up. There's also an Amazon banner if you want to, if you ever order from Amazon, and we all do, go through JackieCation.com and the Amazon banner. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. See you next week.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?